Section 4. You will hear part of an advertising lecture. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 34.
Good morning everyone. Today's advertising lecture is on the history and development of highway billboards and their effectiveness. Later on we will look at their design and different uses. The roots of billboard advertising can be traced to the invention of movable type printing by Johannes Gutenberg as far back as 1450, and advertising in the modern sense was launched in the form of the handbill. When the lithographic process was perfected in 1796, the illustrated poster became a reality. Gradually, measures were taken to ensure exposure of a message for a fixed period of time. In order to offer more desirable locations where traffic was heavy, bill posters began to erect their own structures. In 1835, the large American outdoor poster, more than 50 square feet, originated in New York in Jared Bell's office, where he printed posters for the circus. In 1900, a standardized billboard structure was created in America and ushered in a boom in national billboard campaigns. There are a number of reasons for the recent surge in billboard advertising, not the least of which is cost efficiency. Compared to other forms of advertising, billboards are a relatively inexpensive way to get your point across to the general public. Consider this. A newspaper ad is only good for a day, and a television commercial only lasts about 30 seconds. But a billboard ad is working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The cost of billboard advertising ranges from about $700 to $2,500 a month. At that rate, 10 billboards could run for as much as $25,000 per month. That sounds like a lot of money until you realize that a full-page ad running for one day in a major newspaper costs about the same. So billboard advertising can be an effective and cost-efficient way for entrepreneurs to spread the word about their products and services. The Outdoor Advertising Association of America estimates that US businesses spent more than $5.5 billion on outdoor advertising last year, and the association is anticipating a healthy increase over the next few years. Advances in technology have also contributed to billboard advertising's cost efficiency. In the past, billboards had to be hand-painted, a time-consuming and costly venture. But with today's computer technology, billboards are designed on a computer screen, printed to vinyl or poster paper, and glued to the billboard structure. The result is higher quality ads in less time for less money.
You now have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen to the rest of the lecture and answer questions 35 to 40.
Let's look now at a famous example. In 1925, Alan Odell, who owned a small company that made a brushless shaving cream, noticed that gas stations and other local businesses were increasing trade by putting up advertising signs along the nation's highways. He decided that he could increase his sales by putting up sets of signs, 5 in a set. They would not have to be big, and a short line on each one would do. At first, Odell tried the hard sell approach. Sales began to increase at once, but that did not satisfy him. Motorists see these signs, he told himself, at remote places on the highway. Perhaps after hours of monotonous driving they would appreciate a touch of rhyme and humour. They would indeed. It was not long before the catchy Burma shave signs, some ironic, some cynical, some absurd, but all of them funny, caught the fancy of nearly everyone, including those people usually critical of advertising. These signs continued as the advertising medium of the company for 35 years, and then, when cars travelled too fast to take in these messages, more than a dozen words painted in rather small letters, the company phased out its roadside advertising. Perhaps a growing criticism of this sort of advertising, which interfered with highway scenery, also influenced the company's decision. By late 1965, this criticism resulted in President Lyndon Johnson's Highway Beautification Bill. This bill authorised a federal state campaign to improve the scenery on either side of major highways, to conceal or remove junkyards, and to put billboards sufficiently far back from the highway so that they would not interfere with the view. States that did not comply with the bill could lose 10% of their federal highway grant. But this was not the end of the billboard industry. Many roads were not part of the highway system which was supported by federal grants, and these roads were not affected by the law, and nor were signs in commercial and industrial areas. Now let's look at some of the advertising developments in Europe.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.